Hello, Internet, and welcome back to Antiheroes Anonymous, or welcome for the first time if it's your first time joining us. I'm Ethan, and I'm the Dungeon Master for this 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons show! We have 4 lovely players, despite the fact that it looks like we have 3 and a stuffed animal, because 2 of them are on Yawn Skype today. So Nick, do you want to go ahead and start some introductions for characters and such?
Sure. I'm Nick. I play Thaddeus Hammerlock, the Human Vengeance Paladin.
I'm Kay. I play Harmony, who's the Tiefling Wild Magic Sorcerer.
I'm Melissa, and I play Mara, who is a human swashbuckler rogue.
I'm Zach. Yeah.
That was impressive. Also,
I'm Zach, and I play Hunter, who's a Warforged Fighter Ranger.
I just kind of liked how Melissa was invisible, like Mara would be, until she started speaking and broke her stealth, and then she appeared.
She doesn't have to roll for that.
Yeah, she doesn't have to roll for it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to roll for natural 20s now.
Anyways, so a couple quick announcements, and then a recap, and then we'll get right into things. We stream on Twitch every Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific time, and then post our episodes to YouTube the following Wednesday. Throughout the show, we use a variety of custom items, as well as a custom wild magic table, so be aware of that as you're watching. Our music comes from BattleBards, TabletopAudio, and Incompetech. And the character portraits, which you'll see in the top right corner of the screen, almost forgot the word for the direction right. This is going to be a great night, guys. We're drawn by an artist named Carrie Peach, who goes by @CarrieDraws on Twitter. If you're watching us on Twitch, you can check the channel page for links and info to everything I just mentioned and more. And then if you're watching us on YouTube, you can check the video description for similar information. Then, if you still want to know more about us and what we're doing and when we're doing it, you can follow us on Twitter @AntiheroesAnon. And other than that, we just hope you enjoy the show. Come back and share it with your friends. So, quick recap of what has been a long story leading up to this point. The party arrived at the Elderhaven Reaches, which has been their ultimate destination for some time, where they hope to have a showdown with their nemesis throughout the course of this campaign. Their first destination in the Elderhaven Reaches was a temple dedicated to the White Tiger Byakko, one of the great spirits of the country. There, they encountered skeletons performing a play and solved riddles. And then after doing all of that, they drove out the evil spirit of the forest with their giant tiger mech, which is a whole other story. But having done that, they managed to claim the legendary sword Kusanagi, one of the relics they were after, and make way to their next destination, a Tengu monastery atop one of the tallest mountains on one of the central islands of the island country. Sailing to their destination, they then ascended the mountain and set eyes on the monastery. And then, after breaking down a steel barrier that blocked their path, something happened.
There's a Windows thing.
Oh, god damn it! Leave my computer alone, Windows Defender.
After breaking down a steel barrier, they confronted some of the minions and lackeys of their nemesis Kuor, a Warforged Mind Flayer, several brain creatures. But in the course of the battle, there was a event where the amulet belonging to the Wild Magic Sorcerer. This is what happens when I don't have a recap script. I just ramble.
I'm so sorry.
The amulet belonging to resident Wild Magic Sorcerer Harmony had a little bit of a mishap and opened a rift to another dimension, out of which poured frog-like creatures, which the party has seen before. Luckily, the party managed to stem the tide rather quickly. Seemingly only 2 escaped the rift, and they were put down without too much hassle. Harmony then regained control over her amulet, and the group ascended the tower that they had entered, and found on the top floor a workshop / factory with conveyor belts running here and there across multiple levels of the room, and then upon ascending into this room and seeing its residents, they recognized one of the gnomes who were operating the factory to be none other than Zilpip Thimblefoot, a character they met before a while back. And that, I'm pretty sure, is exactly where we're picking up. So
you mean
Wait,
Pilzip, right?
Pilzip is the one we met, not
Pilzip,
Zilpip.
yes, you're right.
Don't change your notes because he's changing his recap.
I couldn't remember either.
But I have Pilzip in my notes
Pilzip
too.
is right. Pilzip is right. To remind you guys, Zilpip was the genius inventor and brains behind Thimblefoot Enterprises, not Industries.
That's Zilpip.
Yes.
Yes.
And his brother, Pilzip, is less famous and is responsible for the finances of the company. But he was
He was
always,
like the accountant.
yeah. Based on your interactions, he was always jealous of Zilpip and his brain. And that is where we're picking up.
But before we pick up,
Uh-huh.
can you check to see if Twitch is working? Because I think the whole site is down right now.
You know, I was having trouble getting to Twitch.
My app's not working. I tried using the browser is not working.
Yeah, I've tried on
Yeah.
the
It's not
Xbox
just
and
our
both
stream.
browsers, and I haven't gotten it to work either.
So we might have to just record this one and then upload it to YouTube
That's fine. I've got it recording, so
on Wednesday.
that's no big deal. Sorry to anyone who wanted to watch us live on Monday,
Oh, well.
but we are just going to be making this a
I'll
YouTube
make a
video.
tweet about it.
So.
Okay.
So, in the meantime,
Yeah.
let's get started.
Alright.
So Pilzip sees the group of you ascend through the opening in the floor of the tower and into this factory/workshop space to the sound of gnomes basically shrieking and running for cover. And when he saw you, he said something along the lines of, so they did get past the Guardians downstairs. And then his eyes kind of meet your eyes, and you can see recognition in his eyes, and he goes, oh damn. And he kind of ducks down beneath his desk.
I'm gonna go over there.
Yeah, me too. I'm like, Pilzip, get out from under there.
No, you can't make me!
Oh, we can make you do
We're
a lot of
can't.
things.
stomping all over.
And as you go over to the desk, like, he's literally, like, hiding underneath it, this small, diminutive, gnomish form.
And I'm
So
just gonna reach down and grab him and pull him up.
He's, like, curled up in a ball, but it's no problem for you to just pull him up.
so refresh my memory
Mhm.
because I was trying to figure out Twitch stuff. So you might have said this, but Pilzip's there at a desk. It's a factory that's building Warforged, but are there functional Warforged?
Not that you
On
could see in the
duty?
room.
Is there anyone else here that looks like they might be a threat?
No one here that looks like a threat, no. There were maybe 13 to 16-ish gnomes that were working the factory lines under Pilzip's supervision. He has sort of like an elevated platform with his desk on it where you can see the whole factory. But all of those gnomes sort of like ran for cover when the group of you came up.
Are they all still in the room?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're just like
But they're
hiding behind
cowering.
machines
Okay.
and stuff.
All right.
And Hunter pulls up Pilzip by the scruff, and he's just kind of like balled up there. He's like struggling against you, but he's too weak and can't do a thing about it.
Am I still on your shoulders, Hunter?
Yeah. So I'm holding him he's like midway between us.
Come on, stop! You don't have to. Look, okay, you can put me down. I won't run. I swear. Just put me down.
Well, we
He's
already
like struggling.
saw you not do that. But no, we're not putting you down.
Yeah, trust us. You try to run and we'll have you dead in 2 seconds.
Well, okay, fine. What do you want from me? Look,
You have a lot of explaining to do.
Yeah.
he just kind of like continues to struggle against Hunter. He says, "Look, okay, I'll tell you anything you want. I came here because this place was supposed to be safer, but apparently it's not.
Stop.
Okay, yep, you're the boss. You just tell me what you want to know.
That is kind of zone of truth.
Okay. Let me just make a saving throw. What is your DC?
19. It's a charisma saving throw.
All right, and you can tell based on the spell when someone fails or succeeds,
Yes.
right? You can tell that he succumbs to the spell.
Okay. Continue.
Right. I mean, like I said. Wait, what did you just cast? Was that you didn't do anything fishy, did you? You're not messing with my mind or anything, are you?
I'm making sure you can't lie to us.
Well, I'm not gonna lie to you, anyways. Look, I mean,
You're certainly not now.
he sighs and he's like, okay, look, I know that there's no getting out of here for me if I'm not completely compliant with you guys, so look, all my cards are on the table. Here we go. So, I came here. It was supposed to be safer. There was an assassination attempt back in Farendel. It was supposedly the Undercity Sisterhood or something. There was an assassination attempt. They suspected that I was involved with the Warforged attack and all of that. And of course, they were right. But Kor and Orin said if I came here, it would be safer. I could just supervise the manufacture of these special Warforged, and so now here I am.
So wait, this is out of character. He's saying somebody tried to assassinate him after the Warforged attack?
Yep.
The Undercity Sisterhood did?
Yep.
Okay.
So you were behind the Warforged attack in the capital, and you're still manufacturing them here.
No. I mean, I was involved, yes, but behind. Technically, yes, but
Yes.
did I lead it? No, that wasn't me. That was all the wizards and the robot mind.
So
flayer,
what did
those
you
guys.
do?
I just helped them make their Warforged, let resources,
We went
development.
to the bottom of the castle and saw a warehouse filled with hundreds and
Technically,
hundreds.
that was Mara and Mantis.
Well, she told us about it. Like, we in the general sense.
The greater we.
Not me personally. But
Maybe.
hundreds and hundreds of soldiers. How long has this been going on?
I mean, this whole project has been in place for years, and it's only just getting started. Things are only going to get worse from here. I mean, I'm not privy to all of the plans, of course. I mean, they don't trust me. Why would they? Look at me. My lips, so loose. But there's supposed to be more steps. I think some of them are supposed to start soonish.
What are the next steps?
Look, I don't know, but the wizard, the one in charge, Orin, he's scary. He's power hungry. He's not stopping at just Farendel and Freyden. No, he wants the world.
Well, we could have told you that.
Yeah.
So what are you getting out of this?
Oh, here's your comb back. I've been using it to do my wrath.
I forgot you had
I
that.
think that was Zilpitz, though.
Was it Zilpips or was it
No,
Philzips?
Pips.
I think it was
Whoever I
Zilpip.
danced with, they both
Yeah,
look
that was
similar to
a-
me.
He looks at it. He looks at it, and he looks at you, and he goes, "Wait, you're not. Do you think I'm? Look, we're brothers, but like, just because we're gnomes, we're not all. Never mind. Not important. I recognize. Like, I assume Mara kind of gives him a threatening look.
I really don't want to come back, so there you go.
He takes it like begrudgingly and puts it in a pocket.
Anyways, I asked him, what are you getting out of this?
Well, I mean, if you put me down, I could show you, but like the short of it is, lots of money.
Isn't your family already super rich?
Zilpip is, the company is, but
And you don't get any of that?
I mean, I get some, but there's more to be had, you know.
Oh my god. This is why I hate rich people.
Mm.
And to be honest, and since he has to be kind of completely honest about it, like he was thinking about hiding something, but you can see like the magic take effect, and he goes, to be honest, the satisfaction of seeing my brother put in his place for once.
All the
I made this happen, not him.
Technically, you didn't make this happen either, though.
Well, okay, no, I'm not the hands that made the things work, but like,
You weren't even the mastermind behind it. You're just a pawn. You're being used.
you can see that his pride is a little hurt by that. But he bounces back from it. He's like, whatever you say, I was instrumental in all of this. And then he sort of realizes what he's just said, and then he's like, no, wait, no, I wasn't.
Well, I hope you're ready to die
Well,
before.
one or the other is the truth. Which is it?
You could tell. Well, actually, I guess he couldn't
Yeah.
even say no, I wasn't, because he believes he was.
Yeah.
Like when he. So instead of saying no, I wasn't, he like slaps his hands over his mouth.
What are you doing here? What's been going on?
And he sort of like looks over to the assembly lines where the other gnomes are hiding, and he's like, those guys, they're engineers, hand-selected by Core for his special project. That's what this monastery, this monastery is for. You know, it's a special project of Core's.
And what is it? What project is that?
And he gestures down below, like to the hole you just came from, and says, well, I mean, I think you saw one down there, but also, like, look around this room. Like, our Warforged, but with tentacles. Special project.
They were kind of pushovers, though.
Mara took one out without even blinking.
I helped.
Yeah, you can see his eyes go wider, like, he knew you guys were powerful, but, like, at that, he's, like, really scared.
There must be.
I kind of wave at him. Hi.
There must be more to it than that.
He looks elsewhere. Well, look, okay, so here's the deal. That's all I know about, is what was going on down in this manufacturing plant area. But there's more. He's got, like, a lab or a special area, a layer of kinds above. And he points just, like, up to the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
In the overhang that this monastery falls from. Yeah, we're not allowed in there, strictly speaking.
How do you get your?
How do we get up there?
Well, I know you've encountered the guy, so you know the creepy mind thing he does, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he can do that from quite a ways away. Sometimes it's eerie when he's not even in the room. So I mean, that's how we get our orders, but we haven't gotten an order in days. It's just been keep manufacturing the Warforged.
Do you know what he's going to use these for?
No, I mean, he just calls it his project. There's a project name for it. Hold on. And he, like, reaches for his desk, but there's a book on the desk that he can't get to.
Mm-hmm.
He's, like, trying to grab onto it.
I, like, hand it up to him.
Okay. And he, like, flips through the pages, and he shows you, he holds it up to you, and it's got, like, the schematics for these Warforged Mind Flayers on it. And at the top of it, it says Project Homecoming.
You said it was Project Homecoming?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm going to mage hand it out of his hands and bring it up to myself so I can get a closer look at it.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen schematics for Warforged before. It looks a lot like
I
that,
like-
but there's different modifications.
I like pull it down a little bit so I can see it too.
I'll like hold it in front of Hunter's face.
Which of your
So-
people? Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say this schematics book is it or book of schematics, is it like of what? Like what do we see? Is it just a Warforged or is there anything special to it?
If I flip through it.
Yeah, it's got like similar modifications that you've seen in other Warforged, like the jet boots and things like that. The most interesting piece of it is the head. Like most of the body is mostly like the same modifications you've seen before, but the head obviously has like the tentacle appendages at the bottom. But why don't you make an intelligence check to try and discern other parts of it?
Okay, that is a 10.
There is some sort of like mechanism built into like the forehead area of it, like the bulbous octopus-like forehead part, but you can't tell just based on from this like your quick look at the schematics what it does.
Okay.
Can I also make an intelligence check? Sure. Since I'm also looking at it. Ooh,
Wait,
20.
20.
Dirty 20.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you, Percy. I knew you were the one for the job.
The thing in the head is a device that is It's clearly designed to like vibrate at a high frequency, and with your intelligence check, you suspect that it would emit a high-pitched noise of some kind.
Like an echolocator on a dolphin.
I tell this to Hunter.
That's interesting.
You really didn't get that from looking at this?
I just glanced over that part.
I'm gonna ask Pilsen, who's your best inventor, your best engineer here?
And he points one of the gnomes out, and that gnome just goes "Eep!" and like dives deeper into the machinery. It's a female gnome.
Come out, come out.
Oh, look! Look, I'm just...
I understand.
I haven't done anything wrong, I swear!
I have new orders for you.
Okay.
It's like this tiny little gnome only comes up to your feet, and it's just kind of like covered in soot, and like has pulled the goggles up to look at you with big eyes.
I'm trying not to be mean to this.
Okay. She's terrified.
Yeah.
So.
Pilsen says you're the best.
Well, I mean... Yes, and I taught grades in engineering school and all.
So modest.
Can you make us something to block out what's going on up here?
And she kind of like tilts the head.
What do you mean? What's going on up here? Is there something the matter? I mean, there's a lot of
Like-
things the matter with that one.
Show her the schematics book. Is that what kind of you're pointing at?
Or are you talking specifically about the feeling that we're being?
Yeah, I'm talking about like that weird
Oh, that.
vibration
Okay.
or that weird sensation that you two have felt, certainly.
Oh, we've all felt that here. It just happens and it comes and it goes. But
But is there a way to block it?
I can't say that I've tried. I guess I could experiment and see. How long is that going to take?
And she looks very nervous, like she's really hesitant to speak.
Mhm.
She mutters something under her breath.
Yeah.
Sometime, I don't know. Probably a while.
And she like runs and hides and like dives back into the machinery.
Well, it's worth a shot.
So I'll like take the schematics book and like turn it around to Zilpip or Bilzip and say, all right, so what can we do about this thing? And like point at the little eye crystal or whatever it is, or the forehead thing.
I mean, look, okay, so it's just a device. It's supposed to emit a high-pitched sound and incapacitate those who in a focused area. It's a piece of work. Yeah, she invented it.
And he like points to the girl, and she just goes "Eep!" and like dives back in.
So countermeasures.
Earmuffs?
And he kind of like looks to the girl, and she's just like peeking up above the like running conveyor belt, and she kind of like shrugs a little bit.
And I'll be like, obviously you tested this, right? So you must have some equipment that you used. Some preventative, some protective equipment or something.
And again, he like looks to the inventor on the other side of the room, and she her face has like disappeared, but like when she looks back up and sees him looking at her, she like starts to like back towards another corner of the room. It's like,
I'm just gonna go get something. I'll be right back.
We're not angry at you. We're only angry at him.
and she goes back into some of the machinery and sort of disappears from sight for a little bit. And when she returns, she has a like a headset, like a helmet of sorts, with padded ear sections to it. Actually, she has two of them, and she brings them forward.
We've got just two more other than these, if this isn't enough, but this is it!
And she like holds it up.
Thank you. I'll take him. Give one to Army.
No.
Will this fit you?
They're gnome-sized, so Harmony's probably the only one they'll fit.
But I
Oh,
do
but
have the
Harmony's
horns.
got the horns. Is why I was-
I could cut some holes in it for the horns, I suppose. Not sure if that would defeat the purpose. I tried
That's
that.
legit.
Oh, what are you-
Back to the
Look,
event.
me? Should be fine, I suppose. Let me get that drill!
Runs off again. At this time, one of the other gnomes, a male gnome, that you'd kind of lost sight of for a second, just shouts, "I'm escaping!" And he like runs for the hole and jumps
Next time,
down into
don't
it.
announce
And
it.
he's got a backpack on, and he pulls a cord and a parachute appears, and he just disappears down the hole.
Bye.
Bye.
And all the other gnomes like look around, and you can tell that they're panicked. Like, why didn't I think of that? Now that they're going to be on the watch for it, we can't escape.
I look at Pilzip. Does Core knows we're here, right? He knows we're coming.
Yeah, probably. He's got a pretty good idea of everything that happens within in this entire monastery. I don't know how he does it. It's freaky.
Do you have a map of this place?
And he sort of thinks for a second. Would he have a map? He's like,
Yeah, I do, but in the desk.
Where in the desk?
Top drawer. It's probably going to be buried under...
Enchant.
yeah, and you have to dig through a lot of like papers of financial stuff, but there is a thing that looks like a crudely drawn map of this place.
I bring it over to Hunter.
Okay, take it. Hang on one second.
I'm gonna go stand next to the hole with my arms crossed so no more gnomes can escape.
Yeah, they all look really nervous.
So my question is, how do we get to Core? Is he behind a locked door?
Yeah, he is, and we're not, strictly speaking, allowed to go in there.
Yeah, you said that.
But, I do... well, I had the means to get in there, should I need to, but I don't anymore.
What happened?
And you can see he looks a little embarrassed. And he's like, well, they took it. You know how? Look, okay. So when you were first coming in, I thought I didn't think it was you. I thought it was. You're gonna think I'm crazy.
Just spit it out,
A
man.
few days ago, I don't know how to word this without sounding insane. Some of the furnishings of the other towers, they grew eyes and limbs and started talking, and they didn't like us here, and so they took over that tower, and they took the thing, they took the crystal that opens up the way up, and well, they still have it. And since we've had limited Warforged, since Core locked himself up above, we haven't been able to take it back.
So it's
We've
in
just
the
been playing
other.
defensively.
In the other.
Yeah, I think they're holed up mainly
Fire.
in the far one.
Hunter, does this sound like spirits to you?
That's a good question. Does it sound like spirits?
Distinctly so. There is a category of spirits that basically comes into existence when a object that has been used and cared for and loved for a long time
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
reaches a certain age, and a spirit will embody that object, and it essentially gains life of its own.
Well, maybe they'll be on our side.
Maybe.
Or maybe not.
Look, they look goofy, but they're tough. So like,
What does this crystal thing look like?
you'd know it if you saw it. I mean, it's like a brain, but
A crystal brain?
but purple and creepy.
A
Yeah.
purple crystal brain.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
This guy needs a new theme.
I mean, you're
I
telling
know,
me
it's like
it's
deja
freaky,
vu.
right?
Philzip, what have you people done to this monastery?
What do you mean? What have we done to it? I mean,
Well, obviously this isn't the way that it was when I left my homeland. So, and the Tengu are obviously different and possessed by something.
yeah. I mean, they were like that before we came here. Core had a few of them, sort of acting as bodyguards or something like that. this place is always, it's been Coors for a long time from what I can tell. We just built the machinery here in the lower temple area underneath his lab, but I think he built his lab even before that, so.
What happened to the members of the Council of Eight?
Yeah, well, I know that Core took their brains and used their memories to learn more magic. But I'm under the impression that the group of you squashed some of those brains.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. That's about all I know. I don't think there are any more of them left.
Do we need this guy for anything else?
No.
And his
Wait.
eyes go wide.
Mara, can you find something of a personal nature in his pockets?
Of course. Rummage, rummage, rummage.
Yeah, you find a comb.
Nice.
And he has a pocket watch, but he also has a toothpick that it looks like he uses frequently.
I'm looking for something that's like, something identifying, something that we can show to people and say like, hey, we really did meet Pills at Thimblefoot.
His name tag.
The pocket watch is, if you open it up, it's like it's well made. It's like gold. The inner workings are intricate, but it is also on the inside engraved with PT.
Okay. So I'll keep that and tell Pills
Oh,
that.
come on, that was really. Never mind. You can have it. It's fine. Just let me live.
You can live, but if you ever come back to Fairdale again, you will be on trial and this will be presented as evidence.
Look, that's fine. There are enough people there apparently who want to assassinate me. So look, I wasn't planning on going back anyways. Don't worry about that.
Mm-hmm.
So what? Am I good? Can I go back to cowering under my desk now, or what?
Sure.
No, I don't think so.
No?
Yeah.
Where
Well,
did
it's
you
up to
go?
him. He's kind of in charge on this whole project, so what he says goes.
You're part of the people that desecrated my homeland.
It's like folding his arms and pouting while you've got him by the scruff.
Oh yeah, you're not gonna pout for much longer.
I
Not
could-
really ever, I don't think.
I could. If I fabricated a jail, how long would it last?
Let's see.
So I know creation only lasts like an hour or so, but is fabricate permanent?
Yeah, I think it's permanent.
Interesting. I could fabricate a cell for him, but
Well, you're not just gonna leave me there, right? Like, no one's coming for me. If you put me in a cell, like,
that uses
stuck
quite
there.
a few charges of my amulet, and we just saw what happened to my amulet, so maybe I should let it cool down
Oh.
for a bit.
sorry, one more thing about your amulet, now that we're on the topic. Any charges you used have been refreshed.
I think they were
They were full
Already.
already.
empty, full.
Okay.
Full, yeah. I hadn't used any, but thank you.
Well, my thoughts were to just walk him over to that hole and drop him.
His eyes go wide. He's like, no, I would die. That leads straight down to the...
Obviously.
You're not gonna let him do that to me, are you? Like, look, he like points to your shield. You're a holy man, right?
Is Zone of Truth still up?
Yeah.
Are you sorry for a single thing you've done?
Oh shoot.
And I'm like
It says,
staring
in this
at-
moment,
staring
I'm really
daggers at him
sorry.
now.
What? What were you saying, Hunter?
I'm like staring daggers at him right now after that question's asked.
Yeah. So he says, in this moment, I'm really sorry. That was his answer.
we
Is
could,
he lying?
No, he's still in the Zone of Truth.
We could just
So he-
leave him on top of a very tall thing and let him find his own way down.
I like that idea.
There's a lot of tall things around here.
Yep.
I smile very
Let him
evilly
ride
at him.
through like sparkle up.
Yeah, his
or
eyes are
something.
just like wide. Like,
Yeah.
That's a great idea, Mara.
what? I didn't catch that. What'd she say? What are you gonna do?
And Thaddeus mentally calls Moonlight Sparkle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pegasus comes flying up. The gnomes who had dared to peek up shriek again.
go diving.
And I think we'll put him on Moonlight Sparkle, and I'll tell Moonlight Sparkle, like, pat her on the mane and says, take this gnome to the peak of the highest mountain you can find.
What?
Before
No.
that,
But you tell him
Before
mentally,
that-
right?
No, out loud.
Oh, out loud.
I'm gonna stare him in the eyes again and say, "But do you miss to not serve Orin again anymore after this?
I mean, look, I don't see him coming to my defense. So if
You're gonna I don't want you to do any more evil things, okay? No more evil things.
all right, you got it. No more evil things.
He can't lie.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's being as
This
honest
is
as he
it.
can.
Yeah.
If we ever catch you again,
Yeah.
no hesitation.
Yeah.
Understood. Ever caught again, the head comes off. I got it.
Bye. And Moonlight Sparkle leaves.
Screams as Moonlight Sparkle
Flies up.
like dive bombs down the hole, and then you can telepathically feel Moonlight Sparkle flying towards the peak of this mountain.
Can I rummage through his drawers? His
Ew.
desk
I
drawers?
don't think you'd want to do that at this point.
Nope, they're
Well,
very
Not
slow.
those drawers.
those drawers.
Not
no.
those
Because
drawers.
apparently there's a bunch of stuff in there that he kept asking you about.
Yeah.
He kept pulling out like his
Yeah,
a
I'll help
schematics
you.
book, a map.
I'll help you.
Okay.
Yeah, so when you look at the map, we'll take care of that first.
Sure.
Each of the towers seems to be laid out into floors. The ones on the side have 3 floors to them, and the ones in the middle have 2 floors to them. And the maps of the middle 2 towers are kind of crude. They just sort of say like shrine ? On all 4 of the rooms. And then the ones on the left-hand tower, there's the bottom one is labeled entry, the middle one is labeled infusion room, and the top one is labeled, hold on, let me find it.
What was that word you said for like 3 of them? Like, is that what it was?
Shrine.
Shrine. Okay.
The top one is labeled storage.
Well, Harmony, is there a way you can make one of us look like Pilsip?
I have the little circlet thing.
Yeah,
Whatever it is.
no, Hunter's got a hat.
I'm just wondering if that's how one of us could like sneak in there and pretend to be him.
I mean, if any of us was going to do it with illusion, it should be me, right? Because I'm the little one.
Yeah.
Well, it also depends on who's controlling these things in our necks or in our brains.
Yeah, and like Core already knows that we're here, so I don't know if there's any point in
Oh.
trying to deceive him.
Yeah, I really want to go and see if we can deal with these spirits.
Well, we need to go over there to get the crystal that unlocks the door to Core anyway.
That's what I meant, yeah.
Okay.
At this point, the female engineer gnome comes back with a helmet that has holes drilled into it, and she just walks up to Harmony. Here you go! And shoves it at you.
Thank you!
And
Bye! I like your hair! I put it on.
Okay, so do we tell
Is that
them
like
not
a
to work on
visor
the
too, or is it
Warforged
just-
anymore?
It's just the helmet, so it just covers your forehead and your ears, and then your horns poke out. While you wear it, you're deafened.
Wow, this thing's really great! What?
I lift up one side like that's nice.
I take it off and put it in my bag. What did you say, Mara?
Are we going to instruct the gnomes not to work on the Warforged anymore and kind of send them scattering or what?
I feel like that would be bad for them.
Look, we're just here so we get paid. They offered us tons of money to make these things.
Wait.
Girl shouts.
Okay, well maybe make them with flaws so they don't work right.
We're happy to stop if you're not going to hurt us.
Yeah, Thaddeus looks disgusted with that. I thought they were threatening your lives.
Her eyes go wide, and she's like,
just kind of goes quiet.
Well, I mean, you guys could make like that other gnome did and jump out. Do you all
Mara
have
is currently
parachutes?
blocking the way, like arms crossed.
I mean, why not just let them go? I feel like these guys aren't.
They don't need to be here.
They can leave.
They should leave.
We're gonna leave.
Then we'll leave as soon as you leave. It's okay. Just.
I'm gonna, just for good measure,
Uh-huh.
I want to firebolt some of the machinery and break it so that they can't make any more.
Yeah. As you do that, like it's when the firebolt hits the conveyor belts, like the rubber starts to burn and all of that. There's very quickly a smell of like burning machinery in this room. It smells horrible, but like you go around and stop pretty much all of the conveyor belts from moving.
There.
All
Problem solved. Let's
Well-
get out of here.
Well done.
I feel better now.
Did I find anything else in that the desk drawers?
Oh right.
Did you make an investigation check?
Yeah. Why don't you make an investigation check?
It was on S2. That's a 22.
Let me see. Where's my notes on the desk? You can see that the report on the desk itself was a financial report that he was in the middle of working on.
Is it in the bazillions of gold?
No. And then, what did you say your check was?
22?
22, okay. In the like bottom drawer, buried under paperwork and things like that, you find a pouch filled with 730 gold pieces, but in platinum for the 700, so it's like, I guess it's 73. 73 platinum.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Nice.
And other than that, I think that's about it.
Okay. No other schematics, plans,
Nope.
memos?
Nope.
Okay, got it.
Alright, so I'll call back Moonlight Sparkle.
Yeah, and she comes back, sans Pilzip.
I scramble back up onto Hunter's shoulders.
Let's fly up to the
Okay.
fire.
Okay. You just go back down the way you came and then out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When
Down.
you fly back down into that first floor, you can see, or when you start to fly down that way, you can see that there are, there's lights moving around in that room. Like, there's activity down there that wasn't there before.
Can I pull my scope out and take a look?
Yeah, you scope down the hole, just kind of like looking to see what's there. And at some point, after like maybe a minute or so of looking through the scope,
Oh God.
you see just like from the view from above, just like the head of someone who is down in that room and wearing a like a cap on their head. That's like a floppy cap type thing, and it's like dark blue, and it has yellow moons and stars on it, and it culminates in like a puff or like a pom, you know, that sort of thing. And that figure kind of like walks across the hole and then back out of sight.
I grab Hunter's shoulders. Oh God. Oh God, it's him.
What?
It's
Who's him?
probably them.
Who's them?
The guy that was investigating the reds
Oh,
last
that
time.
guy!
Mike Jensen?
Is that what his name is? I gotta get out of here.
Mark Benson or whatever his name is?
Yeah,
I make myself invisible.
I'll deal with this.
I cast
And that
invisibility
goes
on
down
myself.
with-
Also, wild magic is primed.
Oh, great.
Yeah, Thaddeus will go down to deal with this if this is Mike Jensen.
Okay. Is Hunter going with?
Yeah, sure. I can be the witness.
No, don't, no. Because I'm on your shoulders and I just cast invisibility and my wild magic went off.
Oh, it went off now.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, that's what I just
I was gonna
said.
say I can just like set you down and go down.
Okay. Hold on. I didn't sort my dice ahead of time, so I need to find my. Okay, there's one. And we'll do the black ones. Where's my D10? Oh, that's it. Whoa.
98.
I know. I don't usually roll that high.
Maybe a lot, whatever it is.
A strong number.
Oh, I don't want to do that one. That's boring. It would be great if we were in combat. That one's pretty funny too. We'll do 31
31?
for the comedic effect.
Oh, great. Of course. As Harmony casts her invisibility spell. 31, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Let me pull up this thing. Harmony casts her invisibility spell as the group, and like you set her down as she's casting the spell, and Thaddeus begins to descend downward. So Thaddeus is out of sight. It's just Hunter and Harmony, as Hunter is setting Harmony down and she casts this invisibility spell. And Hunter, as Harmony turns invisible, on the ground, do you want to roll that d4 for me?
Sure.
Harmony? On the ground around where you set Harmony down, you see there's like a bubbling pop, and surrounding this like area where you set Harmony down, 4 creatures appear, small, about Harmony sized actually at this point, with like a bulbous gray head, long pointed ears, gross looking like teeth that pop out of its mouth, a big nose on the face, and these giant yellow eyes that take up most of its head. And as they appear, there's just this sound which all of you recognize as they all kind of like look at this scenario and go.
Oh,
I think what I do is I'm like setting her down. The second like her feet touch the floor, I don't actually see her, but and then these things pop up, and I'm like, oh, and I like pick her up again.
Which is good because as they all appear, just like exuding from their feet, like these puddles of oil just like cover the ground there.
Well, the workshop, the factory is a good place for these things to be.
So I feel like I would have been like, I'm like, put me down, pick me up.
Yeah, I'm like, oh.
And they're like trying to grab at Harmony's feet. Well, no, they can't see Harmony. They're like trying to grab at Hunter. So Hunter, would you make me 4 athletics checks?
Oh no.
Yeah. You want like the lowest one? Or you want separate?
Just make 4 separate ones.
All right. You want me to start firing them off?
Yep.
29, 21, 29 again, and 25.
25. Okay, so they all try and grab onto you. Hold on. Oh, actually, with their oil, they have advantage. The first 2 fail. Let's see about the second 2.
Okay.
No, they fail as well. So they try to grab onto you, but they're not strong enough to hold onto you. And like as they grab onto your legs, you like kick one of them off, and it goes falling down the hole. With like it like basically falls past Thaddeus on Moonlight Sparkle and going as it goes, and it hits the ground in just like a splat of oil and is dead.
Oh my gosh.
But the other 3 like maintain their position on the platform and are just like looking at you and like trying to reach you, but you've got out of the way now at this point.
Harmony, I guess we're going down together.
Okay, just pretend I'm not here, and I climb back on your shoulders.
Okay, then we go back down. We go down. And I'm like ready to like swat them out of the sky if they jump after us.
Yeah, I mean, none of them do. They all kind of like peer over the edge.
Where is Mara at this point?
Did they all appear in the factory?
No, they appeared in the middle floor.
It was the middle floor,
okay.
right? Yeah.
So they look over the edge for a bit down at you. They look down at their splatted companion, and then they go off into the room and sort of like disappear off to their own devices. However, the one falling down drew the attention of everyone who's on the bottom floor. And Thaddeus, as the group of you descend, you can see, looking up at you, are 5 figures total. There is 2 like mechanical creatures. They have these like spindly limbs, but they have these cube-shaped bodies. And little metal wings that come off their backs. And there's 2 of those, and they're looking up at you. Then there
They could
is
see me last time.
a sort of short, squat, like portly man who you recognize instantaneously to be Mike Jensen, though you can't see his balding head because it is covered by this blue nightcap with yellow stars and moons on it. And he is wearing a pajama set to match, like a button-up shirt with like comfy pants, and they all have this star and moon pattern on them. And you can see his handy clipboard tucked under his arm. And then standing on either side of him, looking up at you, are two more figures, which you've never seen anything like them before. They are clad in these like long purple robes with gold filigree that also looks like it might function as like, they have like leather shoulder pads that might function as armor. But they have also these like, they don't have sleeves on them, so you can see their muscular arms. And also the color of their skin, which is like this strange greenish color. But the weirdest feature about them is that they have these incredibly elongated heads, very oval-like. They just kind of protrude backwards, and they have these glowing yellow eyes that just look up at you without pupils.
I have the weirdest picture in my head about these things.
Yep.
I'm going to whisper in Hunter's ear and say, "Drop me off. Drop me off."
Okay,
me off.
okay. And I'll drop her off.
Mr. Jensen,
Yeah, and when he spots you coming down, he like waves to you.
spend some time.
I'm going to find a place to hide on the second floor.
And as you sort of alight next to him and say that, he looks at you and says, to be honest, it actually hasn't been that long at all. Usually I don't get calls like this more than once a century for Elendal and Lodnala combined, but seems my jurisdiction is in, well, it's in hot order these days. And he pulls out his clipboard. Am I correct in remembering that you are Sir Thaddeus Hammerlock? I have you marked down as guardian to a powerful summoner.
That's correct.
And I see you have a couple other companions with you, and he kind of like he sees Hunter and Mara. I remember, and he points to Mara, he says, "I remember you, but I don't recall getting your name." And then he points to Hunter and says, "But you're a new face."
Am I though?
Was he not there?
To refresh your memory, Hunter, you were there, but you hid in the woods the entire time.
That's right. That's right. I remember now.
Oh. That's right.
And he turns back to Thaddeus and says, "Well, I guess I can start with you. By the way, where is the summoner?"
She's shy.
I whisper to Thaddeus, "Thaddeus, I swear to God." To the
Harmony?
gods.
You're hiding on the second floor, you said?
Mhm.
Okay. Would you make an athletics check?
I wanted to be on the opposite side of the boggles, but sure. 17.
One of them like latches
No,
on...
sorry, 15.
15? Okay. Even better than for the boggle. One of them latches onto your back and it like starts secreting the sticky oil on you.
I'm
and it's just, like,
invisible.
stuck to you. Oh, that's right, you are.
Jerk.
They can't see invisible stuff, so never mind.
Jerk face.
Never mind entirely. Mike Jensen says to Thaddeus, well, so here's the deal. I left last time for some reason. For the life of me, I can't remember why. I left without completing all of the paperwork that I was supposed to interview her and get some information from her, but I left
Did I
without it.
suggest him?
You did.
You did.
You did.
And if I'm being frank with you, if I don't come back with it this time, my job is on the line. And he kind of like looks to the greenish skinned figures that are next to him, and he points to them and he says in sort of a whisper tone, "And these guys are gonna make sure I get it. So, if you could cooperate with me. Look, it was my day off. I'm not even supposed to be in the office anyways. If we could just expedite all of this paperwork, that would be excellent. So I could get back to doing what I was doing and not lose my job."
Let me see the paperwork. I can help you fill it out.
Okay. And so he's basically just like flips over a couple pages in the clipboard and starts asking you some questions. Where's my list of questions? Okay, so here we go. Here it is. First question. Could you describe for me, please, the incident in which case the Slotty were summoned to this plane, and how did it differ, if at all, from any previous instances of summoning by the summoner?
Well, it was an accident. These things happen.
Mhm.
Spells go awry. It differed primarily in that we were prepared for it. We knew to expect it, and we had the rift sealed within seconds of its appearance.
Right, so you were aware of the distinct possibility that this could happen, and yet still there was a summoning that occurred, though it was a result of spells going awry. Understood. Was anyone injured? Have steps been taken to make sure that they haven't contracted chaos phage?
No one was injured.
Well, okay, that's a relief. Check that one off the box. What? Have you, do you still believe that you are qualified to, sorry, no, I'm reading the wrong one. Do you believe that you have fulfilled your duty to the planes as guardian to the summoner?
Oh yes, in fact it was I who closed the rift.
I see, okay. Yet you allowed the rift to open. Understood. And do you consider the guardian, why can I not read my notes? Do you still consider Guardian to be the best descriptor for your relationship to the summoner, despite the fact that you allowed a rift to open in your presence? And if so, do you believe that you are still qualified to serve as Guardian, or is there something that I can do to offer you further training, education, or means, monetary or otherwise, to prevent incidents like this from occurring in the future?
Yes, absolutely, and no in that order.
I see. Okay, understood.
I whispered to Thaddeus, why not just take the money, man?
So with all of that in mind, should the summoner be called to court to explain her lack of cooperation and persistence in summoning dangerous planar creatures, would you be willing to attend court and speak on her behalf?
Absolutely.
All right, understood. That will be important, especially if she is nowhere around to answer questions for herself.
I'm qualified to speak on her behalf.
And he says, yes, I understand that, and I have a good descriptor of the event at this point, but I still do need statements from everyone involved, including the summoner herself.
Well, some of those people are dead now.
You said no one was injured. You said no one was
He
injured.
kind of like looks around the floor because there's still like Slotty bodies and there's Tengu monk bodies and there's all these like brains and things, and he just says clearly. All right. Well, okay. That all seems in order.
And a splattered boggle of them.
Yeah. If you wouldn't mind, then I'm just going to speak with your friends. If you could just stand a ways away, then I will conduct the remainder of my investigation with them.
Why would I need to stand some ways away?
It's important that their answers are not affected by the presence of another.
Usually, from my understanding, when someone is suspected, they're allowed presence of representation.
Yes, of course. If this matter were to ascend to court, you would of course be allowed to represent yourself or find representation.
Mara, Hunter, are you all right with this?
Hey, he didn't know my name. Thanks a lot.
All right.
That is just killing it today.
He really screwed this up the last time Mike Jensen came into town, so I'm not
Yeah,
surprised.
he writes down Mara on a paper, and he that he has to flip to on his clipboard. But he does say now, sort of using that as a turning point for the conversation. Says, now, I didn't catch your name last time, but I did mark you down with your relationship to the summoner as friend. Is that still an accurate descriptor?
Is that pointed at Mara?
What do you want to know again?
Is friend still an accurate descriptor of your relationship to the summoner?
And what's it to you?
It's just important for the paperwork. It's really routine. I assure you there's...
And who gets the paperwork?
It will be filed in the Bureau of Interplanar Risk Analysis, analyzed, and then action will be taken as necessary. But it seems as if everything is in order as long as I can get the paperwork filed and completed on time.
Well, you look like you're really good at your job.
He lets out a sigh and says, as I said to Sir Hammerlock over there, it was my day off. I'm not even supposed to be in the office today, so I really just want to get this done as quickly as possible.
Yeah, so we want to help
I had
you
to come
get
all the
on
way to
your
work
way.
on a Saturday.
It's Monday.
And we're more than happy to get you on your way. See ya.
Oh, but first I need this paperwork filled out. So if you wouldn't mind, just a few questions.
Here, let me have it. I'll fill it out for you.
He says, no, actually, I have to be the one. And he's like trying to keep the paper from you.
But I go around and look at it over his shoulders and
Yeah,
start
that's
grab
fine.
his pen and start checking boxes.
So the first box is it's a like yes or no answer question. And it says, have incidents like this ever occurred before, and if so, how often?
Okay, I'm gonna put a big circle around yes,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna say because we like it.
Oh, no.
He just kind of goes, that doesn't answer how often, but okay, that's fine. That will suffice, I suppose. And then the next question is, has anyone ever been hurt in an incident caused by the summoner?
Only the ones we want to.
And he seems puzzled by this answer you filled in, but you move on nonetheless. The next question says, do you feel safe around the summoner, or do you fear that he/she/they may summon something that could harm you or someone close to you?
Okay, so I'm gonna fill in the box that life is uncertain and she makes it worth living.
He's just like shaking his head. None of this is answering the questions. And he's like looking at the green-skinned creatures, and he like tries to take the paper back from you. Can you make acrobatics or athletics check?
Okay. Okay. So it is a 27.
Yeah. I mean, you just like keeping the candy away from a child, yank it out of his hands, and he just can't get to it.
You were my hero.
He like looks to Thaddeus and points to Mara with this like exasperated look on his
Thaddeus
face.
shrugged and said, "You said I wasn't allowed to be near them."
And then he looks to the green-skinned creatures and points towards Mara, just like gives a little nod. Mara, would you make a wisdom saving throw?
Oh no.
I'm in trouble now.
Yeah, you are.
You did get the +5 from Thaddeus, though. Wait,
Okay,
no,
so
you don't, because I
17.
think I'm too far away.
17 plus 7 plus 5.
Minus the 5,
So 12, so 29.
24.
You do pass the save. Like you hear a voice in your mind emanate from one of these creatures, and it just says one word: cooperate. But you by force of will, disregard that, and you can see that the green-skinned creature with the yellow eyes kind of raises an eyebrow ridge and looks a little confused. And it looks to Mike Jensen and silently stares at him for a second. And Mike just kind of nods and says, okay, understood. Try again. And can you make one more wisdom saving throw?
Okay, so that is a 9 plus 12. So 21.
Plus 12.
Plus 7? You don't get the bonus from Thaddeus. He's standing too far away.
Yeah, that's what they were trying to prevent.
Oh, okay, so it's going to be 18.
18?
16.
Oh, 16. Oh, then you just don't quite make it.
Can I bend luck on her?
Is there a range on bend luck?
It's just anyone I can see.
Oh, okay. Then yes, you can.
Come on, over
And this isn't a
there.
spell, so it doesn't break your invisibility.
Exactly. It's
Or is
not
it?
a spell.
Yeah.
It's a feature.
Cool.
Oh, wait. Don't I have a feature that I don't fail wisdom saving throws?
Well, you can't be charmed, right? Or something. Oh, are you making this shit up?
You don't need to roll dice. It's okay.
I'm trying to read.
3.
3, that's enough.
Yes.
So again, the creature looks at Mike and just shakes its head.
I don't fail wisdom saving throws.
I'm immune.
But the other creature that is not shaking its head looks up to where Harmony is.
and just sort of is looking up in your direction.
I'm hiding.
Well, you had to be peeking over to see.
I know, but I
Duck back.
duck back. As soon as I see his neck start to crane.
It reaches over and takes. Well, Mara has the clipboard. Never mind. Harmony. Does it have to be able to see you? Hold on. Yes. Okay. The creature begins to, though you can't see this at the moment, the group of you can see that this green-skinned creature begins to levitate upward.
Oh god.
Just like straight upward.
I find something to hide in.
Okay. Roll a stealth check.
With advantage?
Yes.
Because I'm invisible. No, I don't want that one. Yes, I want that one. And I want this one. Oh boy.
That is will say tomorrow. If you're finished, pass your clipboard to Hunter.
Okay.
21.
21? Okay. You watch Harmony as this creature ascends up into the room, and you can just see from your little vantage point, you probably had to like dive into some of like the bedrolls.
It's like where the nuns were hiding.
This is where they were sleeping.
Okay.
So you probably have to like dive into one of their bedrolls and like pull the blankets around you to hide it. But peeking out, you can see this creature begin to walk around the room, and it's drawn a longsword, and it's just walking around the room, investigating it. And at one or two of the bedrolls, it like stops and plunges the sword into it, but it passes over your hiding spell.
Does it kill any of the boggles?
Yes, actually, in fact, that's what it stabs with the longsword. Is it stabs a boggle, and you just hear, and then those bedrolls begin to ooze sludge. But Harmony, you are sharing a bedroll right now with the last boggle. I think he's in there with you.
We're both like shivering.
Yeah, like he's terrified.
He has no idea I'm in there with him.
But this creature passes you over, and then just kind of like with the sword at its side, like stands guard in this room, just like looking around. Mara, you can see there are a few more questions on the clipboard. The next one says, "Is there anything we can do to help educate you or your companions about the dangers of summoning Slotty?"
And I'm just gonna start writing gibberish and keen.
Okay. And then the last question says, the last thing isn't a question, it just says, reminder, be sure to tell those who you interview that if the summoner ever presents a clear and present danger to the balance of the multiverse, please feel free to call our department. And then paper clipped to the form there's a white business card. And as you sort of look at that, there's also a string of arcane glyphs on it that sort of shimmer in blue and purple and green.
Oh god, I have a really bad idea.
Okay, so I'll take that and ask if anybody can read it.
Mike Jensen kind of looks at you and he says, I think I already gave one of those to Sir Hammerlock over there. It's just so that you can contact us if you ever fear that this will happen again.
I still have it, never fear.
Oh, okay.
It takes out this rumpled and trashed and dirty business card.
Yep. And he kind of you can see he feels a little dejected when he sees how trashed and crumpled it is. And he says, he mutters under his breath, "You didn't think to use it when it happened again?" And then he sort of looks to Mara and says, "Look, if you're quite done playing, if I can have my clipboard back, we just need one more witness to fill this out. And then if I can find the summoner, that'd be excellent."
She's not taking questions this time.
I still have to look for
Okay, I hand the clipboard to Hunter. Here you go.
He's going to try and intercept it. So make another acrobatics or athletics check.
Ooh, I didn't do very well that time.
Don't worry, you probably can't roll the no 10.
Okay, so it's going to be a 20.
Okay. Yep. You deftly hold it up above his hand and pass it off to Hunter. Mike Jensen looks at you, Hunter, with begging in his eyes, and he says, "Please, give me my clipboard back."
And I just respond in binary. I haven't put anything in, so I just look at him like dead stare, and I'm like 110000011001. And I look at Thaddeus for like confirmation.
One of the like square mechanical creatures comes up to you when you start speaking binary.
Yeah.
And says, "If you wish to speak in this language, I can answer your questions." And all of you just hear 00111001.
Okay, that's awesome.
No way.
And it looks to Mike Jensen, and hold on, do these things speak like normal? Or do they have telepathy? These things. Nope, okay. So it kind of like basically just sidles up to you and says, if you wish to speak in this language, I can answer your questions.
And so in that language, I will speak back to it and say, I am Sir Thaddeus's automaton and companion, and I'm programmed to do as he wishes. So this is not the form for me. And then I'll shrug and not sure what to do with it.
It looks up at you because it's much shorter than you.
Yeah.
And it just sort of looks up at you and says, in that case, if I may have the clipboard, I believe I can present you with the proper form.
Oh god.
I'm interested in this. And then so I'll hand him the clipboard.
Okay. And he flips back a couple pages to one that is just, it has a header on it that says automatons.
Oh, perfect.
And the first question is, do you have sentience enough to answer our questions? Of your own volition.
Please reference Form A. Let's see. Do I have sentience of
This
answer
is
the
a trap.
questions?
Don't answer this question.
And then I don't answer the question.
I mean, Thaddeus isn't saying that because he can't read the
Right.
keyboard. I'm just telling you that this question is a trap.
Yeah. And then I'll just say, and then I'll just look at it and look confused.
Okay. It sort of gently takes the clipboard from you, takes the quill, and starts just writes in no there, and then moves jumps down a section, and then
I really want to know what the rest of it was though.
there's one last question on there after he's skipped the question that just says,
Yeah.
It is assumed that we have the consent to reference instead the form provided by your master, and then there's a line for a signature, and it just says, it presents it to you with the quill and puts a mark there and says, your name or serial number, please.
And then I'll just write down Hunter in, I guess, in common.
Okay. And he just takes the form back. And as you look at the form, you can see if you had answered yes, I have sentience enough to answer questions of my own volition, then you would have had a similar series of questions to what Thaddeus and
Okay, I
Mara
see.
would have had. It's very similar.
Okay.
They just have to sort of figure out first whether you're sentient.
I just wasn't sure and curious of what the other ones were.
What would have happened if he had said, "No, I'm not qualified to answer my questions of my own volition"?
That would have been a question. It presents the clipboard back to Mike Jensen, and Mike kind of looks upward. Looks like he's thinking something, and Harmony, you see the creature that is sort of standing watch over the room look downward for a brief moment. And Mike turns to Thaddeus and says, my companion is convinced that the summoner is still somewhere around, but can't seem to find her. Are you sure that she's not coming? Really, it would behoove her to not be summoned to court. Things will just get messy if things have to go that far. It would really just be easier if she just filled out the paperwork and registered as a cosmic threat. I assure you, it's a short list. We don't do anything with the information. She'd have to be much more powerful before we even have to.
keep tabs or anything like that. So
As I said, I am qualified to speak on her behalf. She's directed me to answer your questions in the event that you ever hear again.
and he sort of looks to the green-skinned figure, who then looks up where the other one is on the next floor. You see that one looks down. They seem to be having this like telepathic conversation between the three of them that goes on for like a minute or so. And Mike finally, like, exasperatedly, like he gets this like more and more exasperated look on his face, and he just finally turns to Thaddeus and says, "Fine. I suppose I have everything that I'm going to be able to get here in this moment, so we will take our leave." And he like motions upward, and the other creature that was up on the second floor levitates down.
I stick my tongue out as he leaves.
Mike begins to unfold that like cloth fabric that he keeps in his pocket and hangs it in space. And as he does, it forms a hole in reality that he motions the cube-like mechanical creatures through, and then steps through himself, and then the green-skinned figures both follow. The one that had its longsword out, sheathing it, and as they do so, they give kind of like a last glance around the room, just looking around. But then they both step into the hole, and one of their hands emerges and pulls it shut, and the thing folds in on itself, and they're gone.
Oh, man.
Yay.
How many can come out now?
Spoiled again.
I'm really glad I didn't have to burn my little spell slot because I was this close to doing it. That would have been interesting. Yeah, so I will. I'll come out. How far is it from the second floor down to the first floor? How tall were the ceilings?
The first floor has a 30-foot ceiling.
Okay, so I'll just like lodge my grappling hook in the floor and like slide down.
Okay. You see the grappling hook
Still
dangle
invisible.
down, but and it sort of like bends as something slides down it, but she's invisible. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna like.
the bottle like tries to slide down as well.
I pull the hook down while he's sliding.
He's a pile of goo on the floor.
That takes care of him. All right, shall we?
Yes, let's.
I go climb up on Hunter's shoulders again.
Oh, there you are.
Nice work, you guys.
Don't
You have
understand.
fooled me.
Don't understand what all the point of this paperwork
Not
is.
you.
What?
I'm not talking to you. Why are you so cooperative with those assholes?
Because there's nothing to hide. We took care of it. Everything's
They
fine.
want to register me as a threat.
And we didn't
And
let
I'm
them.
going to be put on some kind of a list.
That didn't happen.
It almost did.
We were nowhere close to that.
You were
That
fine.
that scary thing with the weird long skull almost found me up there. If I hadn't jumped into that bedroll, I would have been toast. He was
We would've-
stabbing
we would've
things
come
with a
down to
sword.
I'm sure it was terrifying, Harmony.
Not as terrifying as those gnomes or whatever you saw. Whatever it was
The
that you were so
boggles?
scared of.
I don't know what possessed me there.
Oh.
Oh wait, no, he was afraid of the bedrolls, right?
It was whatever was on the second
Yeah.
floor, right?
Yeah. There's something scary up there. You
That's
guys
where I
keep
was hanging
referencing
out.
a terrifying thing.
Anyways, let's go
Yes.
over to the other tower.
Yeah, let's do that.
Alright, so by your various means, you fly outside and get another sort of panoramic view of this temple, which is sort of a cutaway of the mountain with these 4 stalactite-like towers hanging down from the overhang. And you know that these object spirits have taken up residence in the tower on the far side. So you make your way that way. And you recall that this tower seemed to be boarded up with, like, there have been crates or things like that pushed in front of the entranceway to this tower. As you go, why don't you all 4 make a perception check as well?
I got a 21.
I have a nat 20.
Oh, dang.
7.
10.
Okay, so Mara and Hunter, you two spot something which you didn't see coming in as you're flying across the cutout, which is that in the center of the sort of like cliff floor, down beneath the stalactite towers, there is a carving of a hand, like in the ground, in the stone of the ground, and in the palm of that hand has been carved an eyeball, and then looking directly up from that, in the ceiling of the overhang, between the towers themselves, you can see that there is a metal hatch, like a thick steel metal hatch, that seems to open up directly above that hand, but it is currently sealed tight.
Well, that's probably, I didn't see it.
Right, so we point everything out to the rest.
Yeah.
Okay, now you can say it.
That's probably where we'll need to bring the key to, I imagine.
That's possible, yeah.
Let's just go find the key first.
So you land on the lip of this other tower at the entryway on the bottom floor, but that entryway seems to be blocked up with crates and other sorts of wooden debris.
Telekinesis.
Throw it inward?
Yep. I'm just gonna make a splash.
Sure.
You say you're invisible again, right?
Yeah, but I was gonna drop it anyway.
You see a room before you, exactly like the one on the other side, which is that it is like a 30-foot by 30-foot room with a 10-foot deep pit in the middle, and then 3 statues lining the walls of the room. But unlike the other side, on the other side, the statues were 2 male Tengu and 1 female. On this side, the statues are 2 female and 1 male Tengu, it seems. And then the other feature that distinguishes this from the other side of the monastery is that there is a decorative and sturdy-looking rope that dangles down from way up above, the hole in the ceiling, the same hole in the ceiling, but this one has a rope that comes down through it, and it's like reds and purples and things like that, interwoven with gold. And there is a big golden bell at the end of the rope. But it seems to ascend as far as you can see up the tower.
Hey Hunter, can you sense any spirits here?
So I'm looking specifically for, what are those things called? The Tsuku something?
Tsukumogami?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Roll your survival check at advantage.
Okay. Oh, yes! Okay, that's pretty good. That is a 26.
Okay. As you are looking around this room and sort of looking for signs of them, you spot in the dust on the floor of the monastery strange footprints. Strange in the sense that they were probably made by a creature that only had 1 foot and that was hopping around. And they seem to be as if they were pushing the crates and things into where they were, but the crates have now been blown back, of course. The other thing you notice with that check is that the rope that dangles down the center of the tower seems to be swaying slightly. Just back and forth a little bit.
Okay. So I'll point these things out.
Well, I'm pretty good with ropes. You guys want me to shimmy up it and see what's up there?
I think the rope itself is probably.
I think the rope is a spirit. Yeah.
You two speak keen. You might want to talk to the rope if you're good with ropes.
Hey, little fella. We're not gonna hurt you. Come on out.
Can you make a persuasion check at disadvantage?
But she's good with the ropes.
Yeah.
This rope doesn't know that.
I am. I'm not good at persuasion though. Okay, so that is a big whopping 12.
12? Okay, in that case, I need you to make instead a strength or dexterity check. Your choice. As this rope lashes quickly out towards Mara, and as it goes, it kind of just quickly tries to coil around her.
Okay, let's see. So dexterity, and that's a 25.
25. You duck out of the way as this rope lashes towards you and tries to coil around you, and it sort of reaches the edge of its limits and then like recoil, like flies backward, like with the momentum. Basically.
Can I grab it before it recoils?
Sure. Make an athletics check.
Okay. That's
Or-
not that good. That's a 14.
You needed a 16, and so it basically like slips through your hands, and the rope goes recoiling up through the hole.
That was
Well,
weird.
that was our guy.
What did she say?
Oh, she said she wouldn't hurt it
Well,
when
I
they come
guess,
out.
I guess it didn't like that.
No, she wasn't very persuasive.
Maybe it wants to get hurt.
Takes all kinds.
And from up above, can the group of you make perception checks?
21.
And
14.
10.
24.
So everyone but Thaddeus would hear that when the rope goes recoiling up out of sight, there's a commotion of like voices on the floor above.
What kind of voices?
They're very clearly like keen, like they're speaking keen.
Did they sound like Tengu voices or humanoid?
You had a 14.
Yeah.
They sound strange, as if they weren't produced by like a natural voice box or anything like that. So.
Can Mara and I understand him?
It's kind of a like cacophony of voices. Like it's not just one voice. So like to make out what any one of them said would be difficult.
Okay.
But there's definitely a number of creatures on the floor above.
Okay.
We're not alone here.
No.
They
So
never are, dear.
do I know these spirits to be dangerous or difficult?
No. In fact, you would know the opposite. These are usually among some of the most friendly spirits. They are only ever created when an object is like lovingly used for a long time, and then when it reaches a certain age, it will gain a spirit and life of its own. And so they tend to be helpful, friendly, if anything, maybe a little trickstery, but usually never malicious.
I see. Well, I think they're safe enough to approach. I don't think they're going to hurt us.
Do you think it's the spirits making those voices up there?
If it's those spirits, then I think we'd be safe. If not, then shrug.
Do you want me to come with you? I mean, I don't speak Keen. There's not much I can do here.
We can all go up, I think.
Okay.
Let's go.
All right, so who's
How,
going
how,
out
how
first?
far up do we have to go?
30 feet.
Oh, okay. So using various methods, I guess we ascend 30 feet.
Yeah, and he asked who goes first.
Oh, I'll go first.
Okay.
Oh, yes, Harmony will go first. Unless I like
Technically.
Princess
But
Carrier,
Harmony is
then
technically
I guess I'll go
invisible,
first.
still, right?
No, because I
Then you,
cast
like,
telekinesis.
Sora.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I'm not invisible anymore. So that's fine.
Okay.
Then as Harmony and Hunter ascend up into the area above, there's like a cacophony of shouts like "Ha!" like battle cries, and I'm going to make 4 attacks against each of you.
Oh,
Jesus.
Oh, awesome.
So Harmony, 17, 22, 27, and 17.
Well, I'm going to cast shield, so 2 of those miss.
Okay, and then against Hunter, 25, 23. This is ridiculous. 23 and 19.
3 hits.
Okay.
Since Harmony is riding on me, do I get shield?
you're not a greater Steve.
Harmony, you take 12 points of bludgeoning damage, and Hunter, you take
Ow.
6 plus 12, 18 points of bludgeoning damage. As Thaddeus and Mara, you watch from below as a variety of objects basically just leap at them, floating through the air.
What are
there
they?
is a
I thought you said they weren't malicious.
there is a like a clay tea kettle, and as you get a good look at these objects, they all
Where the
have
fuck
like
is Xander?
googly eyes on them, like basically just googly eyes and like weird like animated mouths and things like that. So there's a clay tea kettle, there's a straw sandal, there is a paper lantern, a paper umbrella, a set of monk robes with like feathered mantle, like a feathered mantle to it, a pair of brooms, sorry, just one broom, and a gong. And the gong is sort of the last one that smacks Hunter, and it just lets out this resounding gong across the entire chamber.
And I'm gonna try and stop. No, stop! We're not here.
And as they collide into you, you just hear one of them, the tea kettle, which shouts the loudest, and it says, "Give us back our monastery, you jacks!"
We want your monastery back too.
They're speaking King.
Yeah, in King. And then they sort of like after they've smacked into you, they fly back to like the edges of the opening, and they take up little battle stances. And you can see that they like developed weird like legs and, like I said, like googly eyes on them, and they've taken on this like personification or like what's the word I'm looking for? Like, they've been anthropomorphized in the strangest of ways.
That is like halts Moonlight Sparkle and looks over his shoulder to Mara and says, "Are you sure you want to go up?"
I like raise my staff. Give me one good reason not to firebolt every single one of these things, Hunter.
Hold on. And I'll say, we're fighting for your monastery too.
You better talk real. This is the tea kettle talking, and it just basically is like it's like waving its like lid like a shield. And it's, you better talk real quickly and explain yourself before we obliterate you right here. You and your friends have held on to this monastery for long enough, and it's ours.
I don't know what he's saying, but I don't like his tone. I'm like pointing my staff at him.
It's a little hard to understand on Hangouts, but I think I got the gist of it.
The gist of it was like, you better talk quickly before we mess you up.
Okay. That's fine. I thought you said something like that. But yeah, we just dealt with all the gnomes up there making those mead machines, and now we're gonna deal with their boss.
Would you make a persuasion check?
Do I get anything for this? I'm telling the truth.
That's why it's persuasion check instead of a deception
Oh no, I'm not a persuasive person, guys. This is not going well.
Yeah, I was saying, Decay, that like the two most persuasive people in the party can't speak Keen.
I thought you could speak King.
check. You can speak like words
like
and
a
phrases.
little
I can like correct people in battle. That's about it.
I rolled a 2.
Okay. It takes its lid and throws it at your head.
Alright.
Does a 19 hit you? I don't think so.
No.
Okay. It kind of like clatters.
I'll hand it back to it. Like, no, I'm serious.
It's like taken aback by the gesture.
Be like, I'm from here. Like this is part of my home too.
It looks over to the straw sandal, with its like big googly eyes and all of that. And the straw sandal kind of gives it this like raised eyebrow look, like with one of the
then,
like the thong parts of it.
I'll call Biako too.
No call who
If
up?
Biako, yeah, and then maybe like this is a servant of Biako.
Well, I'll tell you what. We'll give you a chance to state your case, and if we don't like what we hear, then you're dead. And the 8 of them hop back from the edge of the hole and leap up onto what you can now see occupies the majority of the room, which is 8 bronze and metal, like steel and iron chairs, which Harmony and Hunter would recognize as being very similar apparatuses to where you originally awakened Hunter in Potix's dungeon all those months ago. And there's 8 of these chairs that sort of surround the hole. And the 8 objects here take up seats on the chair. And they say, the tea kettle says, fine, present your case before Cha-Cha, the leader of this council of reclamation of Mount Seiten Monastery.
I can't handle
Oh god.
That is just still in the hole, like, what are they saying?
And then he, the tea kettle, like with its spout, which kind of it uses to gesture as if it were a hand, points to the straw sandal and says, "This is my vice president, Wara, and she will be presiding with me over this case. And to my right," and he gestures the other direction, like has to turn around on his stubby legs to point that way with the spout. "We have our secretary who will be taking notes," and it gestures to the paper lantern, which is holding with its tongue a brush. "The secretary, whose name is Cho, and the three of us will be mainly responsible for handing down a decision. Now, present your case, if you wish to live."
What was their name of their council or whatever?
The Council for the Reclamation of Mount Seiten Monastery.
Then I'll take the stand and say, "Oh, great council of the reclamation of shoot, I just forgot it. What was it? Something monastery.
Mount Seiten Monastery.
So in Mount Seiten Monastery. Yeah, we know that you are very loved and cherished Tsukugami, and obviously,
Like you
you're
get a
going
nod
to
out of
peril
that.
right now, and we recognize that. We're here to right that wrong and fight against Orochi.
"You must present proof that you are not with the fiends and villains who took over this monastery and abused it in the absence of our Tengu masters."
Proof.
Your sword.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what kind of proof do you want? And I'll like pull the sword out and be like, "Well, I mean, I have this from Great Spirit Byakko."
The teapot kind of looks at it, but you're a little ways away, and it says, "Approach with the evidence."
And then I'll carefully approach the stand, I guess, the chairs.
It looks at the sword, and it looks at Byakko, and then it looks at you, and says, "You do have very clear relics that indicate the favor of the great spirits, but you look so much like one of them." And it like points over to the corner with its kettle, and you can see that in the corner there's a pile of like 3 or 4 warforged bodies that are just unceremoniously thrown there.
Well, I was turned into this against my will. I'm originally from here, like I said before.
Okay, so it kind of like nods. "Is that all the evidence you have?"
What other evidence do you need?
And it kind of like looks to the rest of the council, and they give kind of like wary looks over at the teapot, and it says, "Well, the onus is on the accused to present evidence."
And I'll like fold my arms and be like, "Look, we're the only help you have right now."
Okay, and it kind of like gives you this skeptical look through its eyes and says, "And you said that you're here to help us liberate the monastery from them?"
Yes.
And it thinks for a second. And would you make another persuasion check, this time at advantage?
Oh, God.
Advantage, though. You're looking for...
Oh, that's better. Well, I don't have any pluses, but that's an 18.
Okay, I was going to say you're looking for a 12. The teapot like looks to the council and says, "We will deliberate for a moment. Pardon us!" And the group of them like hop off their chairs and go huddle in the opposite corner from the warforged bodies.
I like smack Hunter's shoulder. "What are they saying? What are they saying?
And
What's going on?"
I'll paraphrase back. They're deliberating right now. I presented some evidence, and they're talking about it amongst the esteemed council.
Is it safe for us to come up yet?
Yes, you can come up.
Alright, Thaddeus comes up with Mara.
Okay, so Mara and Thaddeus, you're now in the room, and you can see this group of objects deliberating in the far corner, and then they kind of like will look up over. Like, at
It's
you guys
okay. It's okay. They're with me.
And they go back to deliberating. And after what is like probably like 10, 15 minutes of like intense conversation in the corner, and like at certain points you'll just hear one or the other of them go like, "I object!" And like, and the tea kettle will like slam its lid on the ground and be like, "Order! Order!"
But eventually they reach a decision. They take their chairs again, and the tea kettle turns to Hunter and says, "We have reached the verdict."
And then I'll look at him attentively.
And he says, "If you're in good faith and intend to help liberate this monastery, then we are prepared to offer you our help. I mean, we are prepared to allow you to offer us your help."
Both sound like excellent solutions.
And it's sort of like the council like all seem to be like nodding and murmuring their affirmation. And so the tea kettle says, "So, what can we do to help? I mean, what can you do to help?"
And then I'll like the group that now we're in good favor with the council of Mount Seiten. The
The Council for the Reclamation of Mount Seiten Monastery.
Thank you. Well, obviously this is your home, so you know it but much better than we do. We have this crude map, and I'll pull out the map that we were given from Pilzip.
And so the room you're in now is the one that was labeled distillation room. Infusion room, that's the one.
Infusion, okay.
And then the one above you was labeled storage.
I'll like ask the group what they think these wonderful spirits can help us with.
We need the key so we can get up into Horus' lab.
The brain crystal thing.
Oh yeah. Do you have the crystal? You took that from the gnomes, perhaps?
Ah, we did. We took a rock from them. Keep them
Do
from
we
going
have that?
up to the main area.
Yeah, we need
Yeah.
to get up there.
That's our goal. We need to go there so we can defeat the leader.
Wow. And he kind of like narrows his eyes at you and says, "We've decided to trust you, but that's a bit of if we let you up into that area, you could unleash more of them upon us. So we'll need a little bit of good faith between us before we
Do
give
you
it to you.
trust me or not?
Look, if you can drive all of them out of the tower across the way, then it's yours."
We already have.
And they're shocked.
Yeah,
What?
They're gone.
What?
we dealt with. No, I can't say anything.
You can. I mean, I assume that they're
Hunter's
translating
probably
for us.
interpreting at this
Yeah,
point.
I'm like interpreting.
We
and then,
dealt with all of them
like they
before we
said,
got here.
they're gone.
The tea kettle, who has named himself Cha-Cha, looks to the monk robes with like the feathered mantle. Now let's say the gong. Looks over to the gong and says, "Ludo, go across the way and check if it's true. And take Cho with you, just in case. If they're not telling the truth, come back right away. Don't try and fight." And then the group of them sort of like descended down from the hole in the center, and you're left with the remaining 6 members of the council.
I'm gonna go look and see what's up in storage while we're here.
Okay, you're gonna go up there.
Yeah.
The council kind of gives you a little bit of a side eye, but they don't try and like stop you or anything. When you go up there, let me see what is in that room at the moment. You can see that it was probably once a library with extremely tall shelves, because this room is like 70 feet tall. But any shelves that were in the center of the room have been sort of destroyed and broken down. But the ones that line the walls are still there. Unfortunately,
Figures that he would find a library.
Unfortunately, though, there are no books on the shelves. They seem to have been emptied of their books. And on this floor, you actually see the center area of the floor has been taken up by various like futons and like mattresses and things, which you can also see are animate and have like eyes, and they sort of like the ones that don't have things on them look up at you when you come in with sort of suspicious looks on their faces. But a number of the mattresses are occupied with broken and damaged objects. You can see cauldrons and like stringed and percussion instruments, other brooms, gongs, things like that.
and the mattresses seem to be tending to them. Like they're stitching up the ones that can be stitched, or they're like applying glue, like a glue paste on those that need to be glued back together. You seem to have stumbled into their hospital.
Okay, well, I'll just go back down. I don't want to interfere with anything going on up here.
This is the use for the sovereign glue at last. To save
And as you come back down,
to save the spirits.
the kettle looks at you and says in keen, "You see what they did to us? We were just trying to reclaim this place and make it fulfill its purpose like it did all those years ago with the monks."
That is just nuts.
Not understanding.
I'll translate that. And I'll ask Cha-Cha. Say, Cha-Cha, how long was it going on? What happened? We interrogated one of the other people that invaded here. They didn't give us a lot of information. So.
What was your question?
How long has this been going on?
Has this been going
Yeah,
on?
how long and like what's been happening? Like
Oh,
how did the Tengu get?
they've been here for a while, but they we let them have the tower for quite some time because there were so many of them. But they their numbers dwindled just a few days ago, and then we revealed ourselves in force and tried to take it back, but it didn't go well. But we got away with their crystal, so that was good.
I see. Excellent.
Do you know where if their numbers dwindled, where did they all go?
And Cha-Cha kind of like shrugs the handle a little bit. I don't know. Maybe up into the upper laboratory area.
Oh boy.
That's where the most powerful of them went. He was terrifying. When he left, that was the best opportunity for us to strike, we figured.
You figured right.
And at this point, the two that went off come back, and they sort of like go up and whisper into Cha-Cha's opening on his head. And he like kind of nods, and he's like, "My companions have verified your story. It seems you cleared out the tower over there quite nicely. So I'm willing to present you with the crystal." And the like assembled council like give a little clap. Those that have appendages to clap.
Starts clapping along.
And the tea kettle goes over to, actually has to float up to the floor above. And when it lands on the ground on the floor above, you hear it kind of like rummaging around as if it were like digging through like a pile of metal things or something like that. And when it comes back down, you can see that it is struggling under the weight of a brain-sized crystal made of purple gem that seems to pulse with light. And it just kind of like waveringly and wobblingly struggles its way down and lands back on its chair and says, "You may approach and claim your prize."
Okay, I'll do such that.
Okay.
So I'll go over and I'll.
It kind of like bows its kettle head a little bit to let you take it.
Yeah.
And then once you take it, it puts the lid back on.
Okay, thank you.
So ask if that metal hatch we saw outside is the door that this opens.
Okay, I'll ask that.
Oh yeah. I don't really understand how it works, but supposedly this was invaluable for opening it, and that's why we wanted to take it right away. So.
Well, it's good that you did. Certainly stop them from doing what they wanted to do.
I suppose with this, that means the towers have been reclaimed as ours. So all that's left is the laboratory. Until now, you must accept your orders, your next orders from the council, which is you must ascend to the laboratory and defeat any vile metal monsters that dwell within. And it looks to Hunter and says, "No offense."
Yeah, I'll be like. Also, you should apologize to my friend for hurting her. Now that you trust us.
Right. The kettle kind of looks at you a little bit sheepishly, and its googly eyes
I'm like
kind
rubbing
of
a
droop a
bruise
little
on
bit.
my arm.
If I had with me the power to heal mortal flesh, I would, for I am very sorry. And he gives like a little bit of a bow.
And I'll,
But you must understand, we assumed you were enemies. We have seen nothing but enemies for months.
To be fair, we get that a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
Apology accepted.
Okay. Well, we're all
Now,
in favor.
onward! He like gestures with his spout. Go!
That is spurs on Moonlight Sparkle.
Yeah!
Okay. Well, say goodbye to them, and off we go.
Okay. So you make your way back out of the towers, and you have this sort of pulsing brain crystal in hand. What would you like to do with it?
Is there an obvious place to like insert it in the door?
What you saw before was like on the ground, the carved hand with the eye in the middle of it, and then up above on the ceiling there was like a metal, and it's like a massive metal like circle, and it seems like it's multiple plates that kind of fit together, like kind of like one of those like high-tech hangar
Like
door
like
type
an
things.
iris type of thing?
Yeah, yeah. You don't see any place on the metal door that looks like it would insert into there. There's like, it's like a seamless, the plates seem to come together almost seamlessly.
Is this crystal brain magical?
Yeah, I think you would know just sort of intuitively without even casting Detect Magic. There's a little bit of magic to it in some regard, but that's all you would know.
Also, did we have time to take a short rest during that exchange with the council?
Yeah, you can if you want to.
Okay.
Well, in that case, I'm gonna roll some hit dice too.
I'm gonna strip down to the eye and check that out.
Okay. Roll a perception check down there.
Hey, I finally rolled well on perception check. It's a dirty 20.
Oh, nice.
Ooh.
Yeah, where the pupil is, there's like a depression there. And it looks like, if not that, then something its size would probably roughly fit in there.
Okay. And so I'll motion for Hunter to bring it down here.
Then I'll come over.
Yeah, I mean, Hunter, once Thaddeus points it out, the depression is obvious. So, I mean, it wasn't like... it wouldn't be obvious unless you took a quick look, but there is a slight depression in the pupil of the eye part of the carving.
Okay. So we'll try and... Well, I'll look back at it. Is everyone ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then I'll try and fit it in the depression area.
Okay. As you do so, there is a grinding of gears and metal and stone as the hand then rises up underneath you, and its fingers, one by one, curl up until it is as if the hand is grasping at you slightly, and begin to close a little bit. But then as they are all pointed upwards, there is a burst of purple energy from the brain itself, and the doors, maybe 100, 200 feet above you, begin to slide open. And as they do so, a purplish light spills down from above onto this hand, catching the crystal and illuminating the iris of this purple eye in the middle of the stone hand. And as the light falls upon the group of you, you all begin to rise up slowly. And after a ascent of maybe about a minute, where you're just sort of like unable to move your body naturally because you're in sort of this like zero gravity field that is pulling you upward, the group of you ascend into what is essentially a stone tunnel, and while you're still hovering above the ground, the plates of the door kind of close underneath you, and you can see that they're stretching ahead of you is a... Hold on, let me find the description.
I know, the alien music.
There is a hallway with basically the floor is entirely like cables, rubber and metal and tubing like that. But the walls have these spirally patterns that all of you instantly recognize as the Mind Flayer Illithid architecture that you saw in Helia Ironshield's basement. And the stone walls with these spiral patterns have these like veins of purple crystal that run through them, and they will pulse occasionally with energy. And as the door closes and you're left in that sort of faint purplish light, all of you hear in the back of your mind a voice that you all recognize, the telepathic voice of Kuor, and he says, "I knew when I sensed your presence nearby that it was only a matter of time before you came this way. But it doesn't matter. You won't make it to me, and if you do, I'll dispatch you, once and for all."
A lot of confidence for a guy we've already killed twice.
You haven't killed me, and you can't. And there's a slight pause, and then he says, no, there's just a slight pause there after he says, "You haven't killed me, and you can't." And I think that's a good place to end tonight's episode. As you're just sort of in this hallway, surrounded by the purple glow.
I want to bet.
So thank you to anyone who tuned in to watch. We're going to enter into the next part of this arc next week, Monday, 7 p.m. Pacific time. So be there or be square. Thank you guys for playing. I think next week, hopefully we'll have everyone in person, which will be great.
Yeah.
But if not, that's fine. Skype works fine. So thank you for watching. Hope you have a good night. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Right.
Bye.